last week I did a what I eat in a day video and I had a lot of people comment on my chocolate cake recipe. Sadly, I am not making that today, but I am going to be making that in the next week or so. Please subscribe and make sure that you hit that bell notification so you're updated when I do upload the chocolate cake recipe. But for today, I thought that I would show you guys how to make my favorite banana muffin or banana loaf recipe. I have 3 bananas that are going very ripe very quickly, so I am going to be showing you guys how to make that today. So I hope you guys enjoy this video. If you do, please give it a thumbs up. So if you want to see how to make lower carb banana nut muffins, then just keep watching. We're gonna get started. What we're gonna be using today is we're gonna be using almond flour. We've got some sour cream, eggs. This is my favorite sweetener, is the stevia sweetener, but you can use whatever sweetener you like. I've got some vanilla extract, baking soda, baking powder. Obviously, we've got our bananas. I also am gonna be adding some roughly chopped up nuts to this. So I am gonna be starting out with my almond flour. I'm gonna be using about 2.5 cups. This recipe should make about 12 muffins. Instead of putting the flour through a sieve, I like to just kind of break up the chunks with my hands when I'm making muffins. Normally, if I'm making a cake, then I'll use a sieve, but for the muffin recipe, I just kind of, in a claw shape, I'll use my hands like this, kind of just stir it around really nicely, make sure it's all good. So now I'm gonna use my baking soda. I'm gonna use half of a teaspoon. I'm also gonna be adding a half teaspoon of baking powder. Next, you want to put in half of a teaspoon or just like a pinch of salt into the batter. Now we are going to be adding our sweetener. I personally really like the stevia sweetener, but you can use any sweetener that you would like. Half cup of sweetener. Now what I'm going to do, hands again in that claw shape, just kind of give it a nice little stir around. So the next step is we're going to start adding our wet ingredients. So I am going to be starting with 2 eggs. Next, we're adding 2 tablespoons of vanilla extract. Next, I'm gonna be adding a little bit of sour cream. Finally, it is up to our glorious bananas. I know that some people think that bananas are just a little too sweet for them. I personally do not like banana extract, so I like to use just regular bananas. I would rather just bolus a little bit extra for the regular bananas, but I'm gonna be using 3 medium-sized bananas. I don't know how this recipe would work if you wanted to use banana extract. I'm sure it would be fine. Instead of just adding them right to the batter, you could, in a separate bowl, mush them up. But I like when there's a little bit extra, like bigger chunks in my muffins. I'm a chunkier muffin lady. If you want more of like a banana pureed instead of like a chunky banana in your muffin, then make sure that you're using a separate bowl and really mashing them together. What we're gonna do right now is we're gonna grab a fork and we're gonna start to really press down on the bananas. Now I wanna get the bananas done first. A little bit of pressing down on them, nothing too crazy. And I like to kind of rotate the bowl as I'm doing this, making sure I'm getting the bananas pressed down. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start to rotate the bowl and I'm kind of going down and then bringing it up, down, then bringing it up around the sides. This will start to incorporate all the wet ingredients with the dry ingredients at the same time as mushing the bananas down. That smells so good. I love banana bread and banana muffins. I actually just like love baking. I used to work at a bakery when I was younger and I did do some baking, but not as much as I would have liked when I was working at that job. And it really is just like brought out like this other side of baking. So now I have all the ingredients incorporated. What I'm gonna do now is I'm just gonna scrape down the sides of the bowl and rotate it around. Make sure that there's no dry clumps of almond flour or anything like that, because like who wants dry clumps of almond flour in their muffins? Just make sure it's really nice and incorporated. There's no dry clumps at the bottom or anything like that when you're mixing it. So what you wanna do next is, before we add any chocolate or any nuts or anything that you wanna add, you don't have to, by the way, you could just bake the muffins with the batter that we have right now if you don't wanna add anything. You want to make sure that you have either a muffin or a cupcake tin with some little lined things so that our muffins don't actually stick to the inside of our pan. Or you could use a loaf pan, which is totally optional. I just don't have any loaf pans right here. They're all put away in storage, so it's just a lot easier for me to make them into muffins. And like I said, I do actually prefer the single size portions of the muffins. It just makes it easier for bolusing than having to weigh every single piece of my loaf out. So I just like this. And then you want to preheat your oven oven to 350 degrees Fahrenheit, and then we're gonna go back, add our nuts or add our chocolate. You could add anything you really like to this batter and it'd be really good. What we're gonna do now is we're gonna be adding our nuts to our batter. And like I said, you could add chocolate chips or something else to your batter if you wanted to, but I'm gonna be adding nuts. I just have this like medley mix of nuts. I am just gonna add a little bit of nuts to my cutting board, maybe about half of a cup, and then I'm gonna just start roughly chopping. Now what we're gonna do is we're just gonna add all of this to the batter and mix it in. Now that we have everything incorporated into our batter, I am gonna start to fill our cupcake little tins. If you've got one of those cupcake scoops, this will be easier, but I like to just use this little soup ladle. It's the easiest way to do it. And if you think that, for example, you put too much batter into one cupcake, then just kind of go back and take a little bit out of each if you need to. Now that we have everything in our trays and we're all ready to put it into the oven, before I put it in the oven, the one thing that I really like to do to my banana nut muffins is just take a little bit of oatmeal, just a couple grains, and just sprinkle it right on top. I think it just makes it look really pretty. It also just tastes good. So I am gonna do that. Just kind of sprinkle them on top of each of them. Our oven is preheated. My muffins are all ready. They're ready to go. We're gonna put them into the oven. Just take a little toothpick or a tiny little knife or something like that and poke it in the middle. And when the toothpick or the knife or the fork or whatever you're using comes out clean, then they are ready to take out. So once you've let the muffins sit for about 10 to 15 minutes, they are ready to be eaten. The reason why I love this recipe so much is that the muffins are crisp and crunchy on the outside, but soft and moist on the inside. That to me is the best way to have a muffin.
For anyone who would like to know the nutritional information, the carb count, the calorie count, anything like that, I will be leaving the recipe and all of that information in the description box down below. I just want to thank everybody for their support over my last few videos. Your support does really mean a lot to me, and I just want to say thank you. So please make sure to subscribe, make sure to like this video if you did, and please make sure to leave a comment down below so you can be featured as Diabeto of the Week if you try this recipe out. I would love to see pictures, so please go and tag me at Sarah Von Urban on Instagram if you decide to use this recipe. I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye!